Jeffrey Dahmer, the Milwaukee Cannibal, is one of the most infamous serial killers in America. Early life and background. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born on May 21, 1960, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Family and childhood. Dahmer's father was a chemist, and his mother struggled with mental health issues, including anxiety and depression. Their volatile marriage created a tense environment, which likely affected Dahmer's psychological development. By his early teens, Dahmer exhibited antisocial behavior and developed a disturbing fascination with death and dissection, starting with animal remains. His alcohol abuse began in high school, further isolating him from peers. Personality traits. Dahmer was introverted, withdrawn, and struggled to form meaningful relationships. His interest in controlling and possessing others would later manifest in his crimes. Education, military, and early warning signs. School and alcoholism. After high school, Dahmer briefly attended Ohio State University but dropped out due to his growing alcohol dependency. Military service. He enlisted in the U.S. Army in 1979 but was discharged in 1981 because of his inability to perform duties attributed to alcoholism. His dismissal deepened his feelings of inadequacy and alienation. First murder 1978. Dahmer committed his first murder at the age of 18, killing Stephen Hicks, a hitchhiker. After luring Hicks to his home under the pretense of companionship, Dahmer killed him when Hicks attempted to leave. He dismembered the body and disposed of it in the woods, setting the pattern for his future crimes. Murders and modus operandi. Jeffrey Dahmer murdered 17 young men and boys between 1978 and 1991. His crimes escalated in frequency and brutality during the late 1980s and early 1990s. Victim profile. Dahmer targeted young men, often from marginalized communities, including people of color and LGBTQ individuals. He typically met his victims in bars, shopping malls, or on the streets, luring them to his home with promises of money or companionship. Methods. Victims were drugged and strangled, and their bodies were often dismembered. Dahmer preserved parts of the remains, including skulls and bones, as trophies. In some cases, he engaged in necrophilia and cannibalism, which he described as a way to feel closer to his victims. Experiments. Dahmer attempted to create zombies by drilling holes into his victims' skulls and injecting hydrochloric acid or boiling water into their brains. This was part of his effort to exert absolute control over them. Arrest and discovery. Captured July 22, 1991. Dahmer's killing spree ended when Tracy Edwards, a potential victim, escaped from his apartment and alerted police. When officers entered Dahmer's apartment, they discovered disturbing evidence, including photographs of dismembered bodies, human remains stored in refrigerators and freezers, bones and skulls kept as trophies, tools and chemicals used for dismemberment and preservation. Confession. Dahmer confessed to all 17 murders in graphic detail. He cooperated with investigators, explaining his motives and methods. Police investigation and oversights. Missed opportunities. Dahmer's ability to evade capture for so long was partly due to systemic failures. Complaints from neighbors about foul odors and suspicious noises from his apartment were dismissed by police. In a shocking incident in May 1991, 14-year-old Connor Synthesymphone, one of Dahmer's victims, escaped but was returned to him by police after Dahmer convinced them it was a domestic dispute. The boy was killed shortly after. Criticism of law enforcement. Police were accused of negligence and discrimination, as many victims were from vulnerable communities. Court trials. Trial 1992. Dahmer was charged with 15 counts of first-degree murder. His defense argued that his actions stemmed from mental illness, including necrophilia and a severe personality disorder. The jury rejected the insanity defense, and Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, totaling 957 years in prison. Impact on families. Victims' families expressed their grief and anger during the trial, leading to a broader conversation about justice for marginalized groups. Psychological analysis. Diagnosed disorders. Dahmer was diagnosed with borderline personality disorder, intense fear of abandonment and unstable relationships. Schizotypal personality disorder, unusual thoughts, behaviors, and interests, such as his obsession with control and possession. Paraphilic disorders, sexual gratification from necrophilia and cannibalism. Psychological theories. Experts suggest Dahmer's crimes were rooted in feelings of rejection, and a need for control. His actions reflected an attempt to create a sense of permanence in his relationships. Death. Murder in prison November 28, 1994. Dahmer was killed by fellow inmate Christopher Scarver while cleaning at the Columbia Correctional Institution. Scarver claimed he was disturbed by Dahmer's lack of remorse and the gruesome nature of his crimes. Legacy. Jeffrey Dahmer's case remains one of the most infamous in criminal history, serving as a chilling example of the depths of human depravity. His crimes sparked debates about the failure of law enforcement to protect marginalized communities, the role of mental health in criminal behavior, society's fascination with serial killers, as evidenced by media portrayals of Dahmer's life, facts and theories, cannibalism and preservation. Dahmer admitted to eating his victims, believing it allowed him to absorb their essence. Cultural criticism. His ability to operate undetected for so long exposed racial and social inequalities in law enforcement. Popular media, documentaries, books, and dramatizations continue to explore Dahmer's psyche and the systemic failures that allowed his crimes to continue. Jeffrey Dahmer's story is both a harrowing account of human cruelty and a cautionary tale about societal neglect and the importance of vigilance in addressing mental health and systemic issues. Let me know if you'd like a specific section expanded. Subscribe to the channel and press the bell button to watch and learn more about homicide cases. Thank you for watching us.